What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/StoriesAboutKevin. Alright, this story's called Kevin Writes a Fan Fiction About Someone on His Swim Team. Oh boy. Before I get started, I want to clear this up. This is not the same Kevin I talked about in my last post, nor is it the other Kevin I briefly mentioned in that post. No, I realize that there are at least 3 Kevins on my team, which is really depressing now that I think about it. So this Kevin is a bit different. Most of the time, he's an idiot, but not in a bad way. Kind of fun to talk to and cool with whatever. If you catch him at the right time, he can have a serious discussion with you about politics or end times prophecy. His dad is a worship leader at a local non-denominational church. But other times, his mind starts working in a bad way, and he does something so unbelievably stupid that you wonder why you even talk to him at all. Setting: summer 2019. I was 14. Our coach is Hawaiian and has a lot of family in Hawaii. And that summer, her niece, 16 or so, flew over to spend a while with her aunt and swim in our team for the summer meets. I'm not gonna say I had a crush on this girl, but she was hot. If you haven't figured this out by now, swimming is the best sport for a lot of reasons, and girls are definitely one. Anyway, we all became friends with her. She was a very nice person and loved talking to us. Let's call her Leslie. There was a senior on our team who we'll call Ryan. Ryan was very shy, but it was pretty obvious he liked Leslie, and I think she may have liked him as well. They spent a lot of time talking, and there definitely was some attraction between them. Naturally, as a not quite mature 14-year-old, I took the opportunity to tease them both. Nothing major or inappropriate, just teasing them about liking each other. The problem began when Kevin heard about the teasing. I'm not sure how the minds of Kevins work, but his brain somehow decided to escalate the situation into claiming that Leslie had been, meeting up with Ryan in the backseat of his car. Naturally, Leslie and I were uncomfortable with this change, but Kevin would not let it go. Practice ended and we went home. My sister's group practiced for an hour and a half before my group, so I would be there for it, and so would Leslie, as her aunt coached both groups and was driving her. So I'm walking around doing whatever the heck I did back then, and Leslie was sitting by the pool watching the swimmers, a few chairs away from her aunt. About 20 minutes before our group started, Kevin comes into the pool area, grinning from ear to ear, holding a piece of paper along with his gear. He puts down his bags, walks over to Leslie, and hands her this piece of paper, all proud of himself and smiling. Now, I'm not an expert on facial expressions or anything, but when Leslie glanced over the paper and I saw her mouth drop open and her eyes get huge, I figured this couldn't be good. Kevin is still standing there watching her reaction, and so is our coach, the girl's aunt, who was sitting just a few feet away when Kevin did this. Naturally, the coach asked what the paper was. Leslie was in too much shock to do anything, so I walked up, took the paper, and handed it to the coach. She read the paper, then gave Kevin the look. I think that was when he realized he screwed up. Coach called his parents and gave it to them, who, from what I hear, disciplined him pretty harshly. What was the paper, you may ask? A page and a half of fan fiction about Leslie and Ryan in Ryan's car. A page and a half! While I personally did not read it, I have had multiple people tell me it had some very graphic descriptions of Leslie. So to review, Kevin, 1, decided to start making jokes about Leslie in Kevin's car. 2, decided to write a paper about it. 3, wrote the whole paper. This one blows my mind. How do you write a page and a half of this stuff without ever considering if it might be a bad idea? 4, decided to give the paper to the person it was about because obviously no one else would know and she wouldn't be offended. 5, walked into practice without second guessing himself. 6, handed Leslie the paper with her aunt and his coach literally sitting right there watching. What a moron. And a Kevin. In the end, coach considered throwing him off the team, but decided against it solely because people would say she just did it because Leslie was her niece. Kevin had to write letters of apology to both and had a bunch of punishments levied onto him by his parents. Leslie didn't take the whole situation personally and wasn't rude to him or anything, although she had every right to be. Haven't seen her since that summer, but Kevin is still on the team. Swam in his lane yesterday, in fact. Such is life. I don't see the problem. It's just a lovely love letter. I'm kidding. Don't do that. That's weird. Unless it actually is just a cute little letter. But even then, don't be too, ugh. Also, take into consideration that, someone's present company might influence how they feel about such a thing. So, yeah, also take that into consideration. This story's called My Roommate Kevin. I live with 3 roommates at the moment from all parts of the world. I'm also German and live in Germany. One of these roommates is kind of a Kevin. Not the worst kind of Kevin, but to quote a German saying, where other people have a brain, he has a water puddle. This is Kevin from Africa. I won't go into the country, and he barely speaks German and seems to make absolutely no effort in improving that. That's the biggest reason why I rarely interact with him, as trying to communicate with him is just frustrating, having to constantly repeat the same things 3 times in various simplified variations. The first time I seriously interacted with him, he wanted help with his laptop, and as the resident tech expert, I agreed and we went to his room. Apparently, he wanted to get a certain game to run that he had heard about. The machine was running Windows XP, so I dug around the system properties to find out that the CPU was an Intel Pentium M. These things came out in 2003 and were phased out by 2008, and were basically Pentium 3s with power-saving features for laptops because Pentium 4s were too power-hungry. I then checked out the GPU and found that it had no drivers at all, so I spent another 15 minutes on that. Then I asked him to show me the game and the system requirements. It started with i3. Oh boy. I just plain told him, no. Are you sure? Yes. This game will not run on that machine no matter what. He said he paid 60 euros for that thing. What a ripoff. A second Kevin moment he had regarding cleaning weeks. He was informed of these prior to moving in, but the basic concept is that we each have a cleaning week, one after another, where we generally clean the house. Not necessarily polishing everything, but just wiping the floor and sinks and stuff like that. It didn't even contain the dishes, as we each did our own dishes. It didn't take long to figure out that any and all food stains on the kitchen floor mysteriously remained during Kevin's week. Trash wasn't taken out, the trash cans weren't put outside to be emptied, etc. So my other roommate had a word with him about it. He proceeded to laugh at her and explained his brilliant reasoning that he was, in fact, not a woman. In short, he didn't do squat and no one could convince him otherwise. The landlord knows about the situation and apparently also had further gripes with him. I don't know the details apart from him wanting to keep the deposit or part of it, but it came down the grapevine that he is not fond of him either and might push him to move out at some point as well and take any costs from him not cleaning out of the deposit as well. Apparently, this also hasn't motivated him to do any cleaning. Other brilliant things he does. During every phase of this pandemic, he moved in right before it started, he has made less than 0 efforts to social distance, frequently visiting another house with about 10 people there who probably have the same mentality, even when visiting people was forbidden except for important reasons. He also had people invited over to us. I'm almost surprised he didn't drag in the big bad Modella yet. One of the friends he brought over was a complete Kevin as well, in that, at least as far as evidence allowed us to deduce, went on the normal toilet, left the seat down, then peed into it from a standing position, managed to pee all the way over the seat, and then had no ambition to clean it up and just left it as it is. We later confronted them both about it, and they just had this weird Kevin laugh. Or they both know they messed up, but think no one can touch them, so they don't care, and refuse to clean it. Charming. Oh boy. Those guys are well adjusted. I'm a firm believer in that you should definitely pick up mess that you leave, as I have to deal with other people's messes when they don't pick up their trash. Yes, it was a call out, you punk. This story's called Kevin the Former Roommate 2. A few years have passed since the Xbox incident. No one has heard from Kevin for a while. A few texts here and there, but not much. One day, my husband is going to lunch, and who does he see? Kevin! Kevin has gotten his act together, drinks much less, no longer on drugs, has a decent job job. Kevin mentions he is needing a place to stay, can't find an apartment by himself, and is ready to get back on his feet. He asks if we need a roommate. My husband mentions we should all go to dinner and he'll discuss the roommate idea with me. Now, I should mention the housing market in the state we live in has boomed, so rent is not affordable here. For instance, a one-bedroom bathroom apartment with 600 square feet is upwards of $1,000 a month. So my husband and I bought our first house and had room to spare. We go to dinner with Kevin and we talk about the roommate situation. He really seems like he's got it together. Awesome! So he moves in. I said I would share a sober Kevin story, so here are a few. Kevin moves in. A couple of months later, I have hip and foot surgery. Kevin is awesome. He's helping me get to my appointments, grocery store, even helping me up and down the stairs on my crutches. One night, my friends came over so we can hang out and drink some wine. Kevin looks at my crutches and goes, "That looks easy. I'm gonna try these on the stairs." I am stuck in my seat and my friends and I are watching Kevin try to sort out the crutches. Kevin is much taller than I am, so my crutches look comically short next to him. Kevin goes up the stairs and instead of lifting one leg, lifts both and rests all of his weight onto his armpits and hands. I don't think Kevin understood gravity because less than a second later, he faceplants into the stairs. My friends and I can't stop laughing. Kevin sorts himself out, brings me my crutches, mumbles to himself, and wanders off. Kevin didn't know how to cook, no matter how much my husband and I tried to teach him. One night, he made a box of Kraft mac and cheese. We were perplexed why it was white and not orange. He didn't add milk. I still have no idea how it came out white. He also let the water boil down to the point it burned the pan. Kevin had his own bathroom in our house. One day, he started using ours. We just couldn't understand why. Turns out he clogged the drain, didn't tell us, and had at least 4 inches of stagnant water sitting in the tub for who knows how long. My husband made the comment, "It looks like he shaved a freaking Yeti in here. Does he shave his entire body? Freaking gross." He also didn't know he needed to buy his own toothpaste and toothbrush, and he was using mine or my husband's for who knows how long. As soon as I found out, we bought him a pack of toothbrushes and 2 tubes of toothpaste. We tossed our brushes as soon as we found out. I didn't think I would ever have to tell a grown man, "Now here is your toothbrush and toothpaste, don't touch ours." Kevin bought a car, a little rear-wheel drive thing. In our state, it is a bad idea to have a rear wheel as a commuter car. He was so stoked on this stupid little car. We asked the usual things about it, including the interest rate, 17%. 17! We couldn't help but laugh and tell him what a moron he was for buying it. Trying to explain he should refinance it was like trying to fit a square in a circle peg. It just wasn't clicking. Kevin stayed sober for a while when he was living with us. He had a stable job. It was just stupid. Kevin started going back to his old ways at one point, which will lead to the conclusion. I may or may not post the Kevin the roommate conclusion. It really depends on if anyone wants to read it. I do! I wonder what causes him to revert to a more less good state. This story's called Prom Kevin. A couple of years ago at my prom, the local Kevin of my school came out to shine. For context, this is Ireland, where the drinking age is 18. Kevin wasn't the legal age to drink yet, so he got his dad to make a fake ID for him. When he showed everyone, they laughed. It was so obvious that it was fake, but he didn't see it and was sure he was going to get into the nightclub. Our school had a couple of joke awards along with the prom king and queen. For example, best looking ginger or biggest meme of the year and so on. One of these awards was best friends of the year. Kevin won with another Kevin at the school. This upset our Kevin, so he smashed his glass in anger. Later, while the dance was going on, people had flasks of vodka or their drink of choice. A friend of mine pulled out his and poured 4 glasses of orange juice and vodka for us. Kevin walked over and picked up a half-full glass of water that someone just left there. I asked him what he was drinking and he replied vodka. I asked to see the glass and sniffed it. I told him there's no vodka in that. He got very defensive and told me that vodka was just alcoholic water and it didn't have a taste or smell. I laughed and told him I work in a bar and vodka does have a taste and it's just sometimes overwhelmed by whatever the mixer is. I took a sip of it and told him it's just water, but he wouldn't believe me and drank the whole thing. Later, when we got the bus to the nightclub, he was all ready with his fake ID meet. To nobody's surprise, he didn't get in. We only stayed in the nightclub for a couple of hours because there was a bus to an after party. When everyone exited the nightclub, we saw Kevin drunk. I put drunk in quotation marks because he was obviously faking it. We egged him on and asked how he got drunk if he didn't get in. His response was that when people went into the nightclub, they left their near-finished drinks outside. He went around drinking the last sip of everyone's drinks. A classmate asked if he drank the one that was down by the trees in a Coors Light bottle. Kevin smiled and said he drank it all like a champ. The classmate put his hands on his head and said he pissed in it because of the massive line to get in. Kevin tried to backtrack by saying the one he took didn't smell like pee. When we got to the after party, there was no alcohol, so people were beginning to sober up. Not Kevin. 5 hours after we left the nightclub, so 5 hours after his last drink, he was still acting so inebriated that if he wasn't faking, he'd have to be on some sort of drug, so people started messing with him by seeing what they could ask him to do. He obliged every single time. One instance was a guy asking him to interrupt two people making out, so he did, asking for a kissing threesome. I left soon after, so I didn't see the rest of the night. Another story from that Kevin include him sniffing crushed paracetamol, pretending it was cocaine, and running around the room in his geography class. It was my friend's paracetamol, cetamol, whatever the hell. I've one drug, two drugs, I've seen them all. That was stupid. And not just the Kevin. Haha.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.